Listen, Rihanna, when you die, God is taking me to my future. You want to kill me.
Yo, what is up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And listen, I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now. I mean it. Put the phone down, sit up straight, because what I'm about to break down for you today is not just drama. This is not just celebrity gossip. This is a real situation that has the entire entertainment industry shook, that has people in very high places making very quiet phone calls, and that has one of the most street-smart, most connected men in hip-hop history reaching out personally to warn a superstar couple that their lives might still be in danger. We are talking about Rihanna. We are talking about A$AP Rocky. We are talking about a shooting at their home that the mainstream media covered for about 48 hours and then quietly moved on from. And we are talking about 50 Cent, a man who does not scare easily, a man who has literally survived things that would break most people, allegedly so concerned about what he knows that he picked up the phone personally and told Rocky to pack up his family and leave the country. Now, why would 50 Cent be that worried? What does he know that we do not know? And why does this whole situation feel like it is so much bigger than what we are being told? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to have questions. Big questions. And I promise you, the answers are even more unsettling than the questions themselves. Let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, let's lay out exactly what happened because I want everybody watching this to have the full picture before we start going deeper. Because the surface level story is already alarming enough, and then when you start peeling back the layers it gets genuinely disturbing. A woman named Ivana Lizette Ortiz was arrested and charged after she allegedly pulled up to Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's home in a white Tesla and opened fire with an AR-15. An AR-15. Not a handgun. Not some small weapon. A semi-automatic rifle. Reports say approximately 10 shots were fired. Bullet holes were found piercing through the front security gate. The family's RV that was parked inside the property was also hit. Now let that sink in for just a moment. Someone pulled up to the home where Rihanna, one of the most famous women on the planet, lives with her children, and fired an AR-15 at the property. 10 times. This is not a small incident. This is not someone throwing eggs at a celebrity's house. This is a serious, potentially deadly attack on a family. And somehow, within a few days, the news cycle had already started moving on to the next thing. But here is what the news cycle did not spend enough time on. Here is what got buried under the surface. The bail amount set for Ivana Ortiz was $10.2 million. $10.2 million. Now I need you to understand what that number means in context. In Los Angeles, a bail amount that crosses the $10 million mark is not standard. It is not what you set for someone who is considered just a danger to one specific person. Legal experts who spoke publicly about this case noted that a bail this high typically signals one of two things. Either the court believes the individual is an extreme flight risk, or the court believes the individual represents an ongoing and serious threat to public safety. Or both. For a case where no one was physically injured. For a case that, on the surface, looks like a mentally unstable individual who made some disturbing social media videos and then showed up at a celebrity's house. For that situation, $10.2 million bail is, as one legal analyst put it, extremely unusual. So why so high? What does the court know that justified that number? And then, almost immediately after the bail news dropped, came the detail that changed everything. Police confirmed they are actively investigating a second person as a potential accomplice in this case. A second person. Suddenly, the lone disturbed fan narrative starts developing some very significant cracks. Now let's talk about Ivana Ortiz herself for a minute. Because multiple videos surfaced from her social media that show her making some deeply concerning statements. In one clip, she is talking directly about Rihanna. In another, she is making statements that, to put it charitably, suggest she is not operating in the same reality as the rest of us. The content of these videos is disturbing, and we're not going to go into graphic detail, but the overall picture they paint is of someone experiencing a serious mental health crisis. And that is actually the part that raises even more questions for a lot of people. Because here is the thing, someone in that level of mental distress, someone whose social media is filled with that kind of content, someone who is clearly and visibly struggling, how did that person obtain an AR-15? How did that person plan and execute a drive-by shooting at a heavily secured celebrity property? How did she know exactly where to go, when to show up, and how to operate that weapon with the reported level of precision. Because according to reports, and this is the detail that made people's jaws drop, Ivana Ortiz may not be just a random civilian who got access to a gun. There are indications, according to sources covering this case, that she has training. Firearms training. Which means we are not necessarily dealing with a panicked amateur who got lucky. We could be dealing with someone who knew exactly what they were doing and exactly how to do it. And if that is true, then the entire narrative of crazy fan who snapped becomes a lot more complicated. This is where 50 Cent enters the conversation. And his involvement in this story is what took it from concerning to genuinely alarming. Now let's be clear about something first. 50 Cent did not go on Instagram. He did not post a meme. He did not make a public statement. The man who famously uses social media as a weapon, who has turned Instagram into his personal entertainment channel, who almost never misses an opportunity to comment publicly on industry drama, stayed completely silent on this one. Think about that. 50 Cent silent. Instead, according to an insider with direct knowledge of the situation, 50 reached out to ASAP Rocky privately. Person to person. And the message he delivered was not a joke, was not a light-hearted check-in. According to this insider, 50 told Rocky in no uncertain terms that he does not believe this was a random act. He does not believe Ivana Ortiz acted alone. And most significantly, he believes that whoever may have been behind this could try again. And his advice: take Rihanna, take the babies, and go to Barbados. Get out of Los Angeles. Get out of the country if possible.
They all together initially. They actually or fend off all other crews to be the guy, right? And then you go the people that become prominent or become a greater focus, they get knocked off in the process.
Because in 50's assessment, based on whatever information he has access to through his network, staying put is not safe. This is 50 Cent we are talking about. This is a man who grew up in Southside Jamaica, Queens. A man who has navigated some of the most dangerous situations imaginable in both his personal life and his career. A man who is famously unafraid of confrontation, who has gone toe-to-toe publicly with some of the most powerful people in entertainment, who built an empire while people were actively working against him. When a man like that tells you to leave, quietly and privately, without making it a public spectacle, you pay attention.
No, Rihanna, no. You're not the eagle. They will soar high on wings like eagles. Rihanna wants to say that we are flying. That we are flying and we're not. She's not flying. She had a bad day. She looks really stupid and corny. And everyone knows it. But the way that they want to, that girl, the way that Rihanna wants to kill me, she's the one who wants to kill me. The way that Rihanna wants to kill me shows that we're not going to show this right now. But this is my heart, Lord, and I am expecting and waiting in that beautiful time for you to show me what.
And apparently, Rocky and Rihanna did pay attention. Because shortly after 50's reported outreach, news broke that Rihanna and her family had left Los Angeles. The exact details of where they went and whether they left the country entirely remain unclear. But they left. And the timing of that departure, directly following 50's private warning, is not something that went unnoticed by people paying close attention. Now here is where the conversation in the streets, in the blogs, and in the comment sections gets really interesting. Because the question everybody is asking is the same question. If this was a bigger plot, if there is an accomplice, if there is someone higher up who may have orchestrated or enabled this, then who are we talking about? And I want to be very clear here. Everything from this point forward is speculation. These are theories. These are questions being asked publicly by fans and observers. We do not know the answers. The investigation is ongoing. But the questions themselves are worth examining because they reflect what a lot of people who have been following this closely are genuinely thinking. The first theory that started circulating almost immediately is connected to ASAP Rocky's own legal history. Rocky recently went through a highly publicized trial. The case was controversial. There were people connected to that situation who were very publicly not in Rocky's corner. People with resources, with connections, with reasons to want Rocky's life to become very difficult. Could someone from that circle be involved? Could the attack on Rihanna's home have been designed not just to threaten Rihanna but to send a message to Rocky specifically? The comment sections on every major platform are filled with people pointing to exactly this theory. One comment that got thousands of likes read, "There were some characters in that trial that clearly did not like ASAP. The plot thickens." And honestly, when you look at the timeline, when you look at who was involved in that case and how it played out, it is a thread worth following even if we cannot confirm where it leads. The second theory involves the concept of what some people online are calling a patsy situation. Now this is a term with a long history, and before anyone gets nervous about where this is going, let me explain it in straightforward terms. A patsy, in this context, refers to someone who is used as a front. Someone who is visible, identifiable, and easy to blame, while the people actually responsible for orchestrating something remain hidden in the background. The argument some observers are making is that Ivana Ortiz fits a very specific profile. She has a documented history of erratic social media posts. She has obvious mental health struggles that are visible and recorded. She can be very quickly and convincingly portrayed as a disturbed fan who acted alone out of obsession. And someone with that profile, the theory goes, would be a very convenient person to have taken the blame for something, because investigators could close the case quickly on the lone deranged fan explanation without needing to dig deeper. Is this what happened? We do not know. We genuinely do not know. But the people raising this question point to the precision of the attack, the nature of the weapon used, the reported training background, and the astronomical bail amount as reasons why the simple explanation may not be the complete explanation. Some commenters online went even further, into territory that is much more speculative and that we are going to treat with heavy skepticism. Connections were drawn to larger ongoing conversations in the cultural space about powerful figures, industry structures, and accountability. One user mentioned connections to broader celebrity industry dynamics involving Jay-Z and Rihanna's label history. Others brought up even larger conspiracy-adjacent theories. We are not going to amplify those specific theories because they go well beyond what any available evidence supports. But we are mentioning that they exist because they show you how far people's minds are going when the official explanation leaves this many unanswered questions. And that is actually the most important takeaway from all of this. Not any specific theory, not any specific name, but the fact that the information we do have, the $10 million bail, the second accomplice investigation, the training background, the private warning from 50 Cent, the family's sudden departure, does not neatly fit the story of a lone mentally unstable fan who spontaneously decided to drive to a celebrity's home and open fire. There are too many pieces that do not belong in that simple picture. Now let's talk about 50 Cent's history with this specific couple. Because his involvement in this situation did not come out of nowhere. 50 Cent has been publicly and privately supportive of A$AP Rocky for years. Most visibly during Rocky's trial, 50 was one of the few major figures in hip-hop who openly and consistently expressed his belief that Rocky was being set up. He posted about it. He commented on the testimony. He implied that the case was being used as a tool by someone with power to try and take Rocky down. And when Rocky was acquitted, 50 went back on social media to celebrate and remind people that he had called it from the beginning. So 50's relationship with Rocky is real. It is documented. It is not just a surface-level industry connection. These are two men who have shown genuine loyalty to each other in difficult moments. Which means that when 50 reaches out privately, in a moment this serious, without any public fanfare, without any Instagram posts, without any memes, that is not performative. That is genuine concern from someone who actually cares about what happens to this family. And 50's concern, according to people close to the situation, is rooted in something specific. It is rooted in his belief, based on whatever he knows, whatever he has heard, whatever his network has told him, that this situation is not resolved just because Ivana Ortiz is in custody. That the person or people who may have set this in motion are still out there, still free, and potentially still interested in making sure that whatever message they intended to send gets delivered. That is a deeply unsettling thought. And it is the thought that reportedly motivated 50 to make that private call. Now what happens next in this investigation is genuinely unclear. Police are not sharing specifics about the accomplice angle. The bail situation suggests serious ongoing concern at the judicial level. Rihanna and Rocky's location is not being publicized for obvious safety reasons. And the people who might have answers, the insiders, the industry figures, the people in 50 Cent circle who actually know what he knows, are not talking publicly. What we are left with is a lot of fragments, a lot of questions, and a very strong feeling, shared by a large number of people who have been following this closely, that the full story has not come out yet. There is one more angle to this situation that I want to address before we wrap up. And it is the question of why. Why Rihanna? If this was not random, if this was not just a disturbed fan, then what is the motivation? What does anyone gain from targeting Rihanna specifically? And here is where it gets complicated. Because Rihanna is not just a pop star. She is not just a singer who makes music and occasionally makes headlines. She is a billionaire. She runs a global business empire. She is connected to some of the most powerful figures in entertainment, in fashion, in finance. She is the mother of ASAP Rocky's children. And Rocky himself is connected to people and situations that involve serious power dynamics, serious money, and serious history. When you exist at that level, when you operate in those circles, when the people around you are playing at that scale, the concept of a purely random attack becomes statistically much less likely. Not impossible, but significantly less likely. And that is, ultimately, what 50 Cent seems to understand better than most. He has existed at extreme levels of fame and power himself. He knows what it looks like when something is organic versus when something is engineered. He knows the difference between chaos and strategy. And reportedly, what he saw in this situation looked a lot more like the latter. Whether the investigation confirms any of this remains to be seen. Whether the accomplice angle develops into something that changes the public understanding of this case remains to be seen. Whether Rihanna and Rocky return to Los Angeles or stay away indefinitely remains to be seen. But one thing is not in question. This situation is not as simple as it was initially presented. And the fact that one of hip-hop's most street-smart, most connected, most unshakable figures felt the need to make a quiet private phone call and say, "Get your family out of there," that tells you everything you need to know about how serious this really is. Alright y'all, and that is where we are leaving things today. But before you go anywhere, I need you to do something for me right now. Drop your theory in the comments section below. I am genuinely asking, do you believe Ivana Ortiz was a lone disturbed fan who acted entirely on her own? Or do you think that $10 million bail, that second accomplice investigation, and 50 Cent's private warning are all pointing towards something much bigger that we have not been told yet? Because the comment section on this video is going to be one of the most interesting ones we have had in a long time. And I read every single comment. Every one. So drop your thoughts, drop your theories, be respectful of each other, and let's have this conversation. While you are down there typing, hit that like button. Seriously. These videos take real time and real research to put together properly, and every like tells the algorithm that this content deserves to be seen by more people. More people seeing it means more people in the conversation, means we get closer to understanding what actually happened here. If you are new to the channel, welcome. You found the right place. This is where we take the stories that everybody is talking about and we go deeper than the surface. We look at the angles. We ask the questions that the mainstream coverage skips over. We treat you like adults who can handle complex information and form your own opinions. So hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss when we drop. Because this Rihanna situation is not over. The investigation is ongoing. New information is coming out regularly. And when it does, this channel is going to be here breaking it down for you in real time with the full context you need to actually understand what you are looking at. The biggest question that is going to keep you up tonight is this one. If there really is someone behind this, someone who used Ivana Ortiz as a front, someone who is still out there right now, what happens when they realize the first attempt did not work? What happens next? That is the question that 50 Cent is apparently already asking. And the fact that Rihanna's family seems to have taken his warning seriously enough to leave their home suggests they are asking it too. Stay safe out there. Stay locked in. We will see you in the next one.